Good morning and welcome to the Morning Scoop for Tuesday, October 20th. This is your daily Buckeye fix. I'm Tom Orr. Ohio State and Nebraska will kick off their 2020 seasons just 4 days from now. The game against Michigan, 53 days away. With the Buckeyes and Huskers now in the middle of game prep, it seemed like a perfect time to talk a little Nebraska football. My guest today is David Max of HuskerMax.com. David, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Well, the vibe around this week's game is just a little different than a normal Big Ten opener, it seems. Like a lot of times there's at least some hostility. And after these two teams spent the summer working together to make this season happen, on Monday, Scott Frost was very complimentary about what Ohio State to help make the season a reality. He made it sound like Ryan Day and he had gotten a lot closer. Am I reading that right? Is this a little more friendly than a normal Big Ten opener, maybe?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of mutual respect between the two of them, and it's they were the front and center voices and people to get this thing back on track and get games in the Big Ten again. So I think this is going to last for a long time. It's kind of like more of a mutual respect type of a thing, like Nebraska used to have with Oklahoma. You know, they were big rivals, but they were respected.
Frost did have an interesting answer, though, on Monday during his press conference. He was asked about having to play the Buckeyes to start the season. He said the quote was, quote, "No, I don't think it's a coincidence," close quote, that the Big Ten scheduled those two teams this week. David, can you explain that to our listeners, why that would not be a coincidence?
Well, I mean, I think, Nebraska fans always sometimes have a feeling that we're not treated well from scheduling and stuff from the Big Ten Conference and all that. But if you want to beat the best, you got to play the best. And I personally think having this as an early game in the season is more beneficial to Nebraska than having it later in the season. So and scheduling is what it is. And everybody can have their opinions about it, but I would rather play the Ohio States, Penn States, and Michigans on a more regular basis.
When Frost first got that Nebraska job, I think there were a lot of people that expected he would be winning or at least contending for Big Ten West championships by maybe his second year. Here he is entering year 3, and most people are picking Wisconsin or Minnesota to win the West again this year. So is Nebraska behind where Frost thought they'd be at this point, and what is it that has made this kind of a tough climb for him?
Well, I think, it's kind of been of a tough climb. Nebraska's been kind of in the wilderness, so to speak, since the late 1990s. And it's we've got guys on the team that have no idea what the tradition is from people that are my age that have been around for a long time. And the expectation was super high, so the bar was set very, very high. And with some of these close early losses, it just kind of, I think had a mental effect on the team, and I think, for this year, I think the optimism is there again. I think, we expect to do better, how much better remains to be seen. And it's going to be a big test this week. I mean, there was a thread on our bulletin board this morning about how another Ohio State site said that the decimal was off. Instead of being 21.5-point underdog, we should have been 215-point underdog. So I think they may be setting their expectation a little high as well.
Yeah, I would probably take Nebraska plus 215 if anyone wants to offer that to me. I'll take that this week.
Yeah, I will too.
Well, when Nebraska does take the field, getting however many points they're getting this weekend, they're going to have Adrian Martinez as their starting quarterback. That was something that Frost announced. Martinez went on the press conference first and was sort of cagey about, I'm not sure if they've, that's up to the coaches. And then 5 minutes later, Frost came out and just said, "Oh yeah, Adrian's going to be our quarterback." So that killed that drama. He is a returning starter. He is a captain this year, but it sounds like he was in a pretty serious battle with Luke McCaffrey. If you're wondering, yes, younger brother of Dylan McCaffrey, the quarterback who left Michigan over the offseason. But yet Adrian and Luke were in a pretty serious battle for that starting job. Are you expecting to see both of those guys play on Saturday? But what do both of them bring to the offense?
Well, I think it's kind of become like a if you're going back to my era again, like a Jerry Taggy Van Bronson thing, where they always said Bob Devaney slept better at night knowing he had both quarterbacks. And I think Scott Frost sleeps better knowing that he does have those two quarterbacks. And McCaffrey has a lot of support from Nebraska fans. So I think if Adrian was to get hurt or not do well, I don't think there would be any hesitation to put McCaffrey in. So it's a great 1-2 punch to have, I think.
Not all that unusual to have the backup quarterback be pretty popular. That's something that's happened once or twice other places in college football among fan bases. I would say the offensive line this year for Nebraska is expected to be a relative strength. That has always been, when you think the great Nebraska teams, you always think the great mauling offensive lines. This is probably not quite up to that level, but with a younger wide receiver group this year, is this going to be a more of a run first offense for them this year?
Well, I hope not. I mean, I hope that they're able to balance the offense somewhat and not depend entirely on the run. It's the offensive line, traditionally has been a strength, and I think we're just going to have to wait and see what the improvement is over last year, because we do have some returners.
And on the defensive side of the ball, it seems like there's probably some questions on that front seven for Nebraska. I mean, what kind of turnover have they had? What are the concerns, especially, defensive line, linebackers, and how big of a concern is that against this Ohio State offense? Well,
our defense has given up points in the past, and it's these third down and long conversions that we've given up that have just been frustrating, and we just hope that that can be turned around. And it's probably one of the question marks for this year, and we'll just kind of see how the players step up.
Well, talking about giving up big plays and kind of falling behind, that Frost kind of jokingly on Monday said that last year against Ohio State, they kept it very close and competitive, and kind of paused and then said for about 5 minutes. And that was, I mean, I was there, that's about right.
Yeah.
What constitutes success for Nebraska this weekend? I mean, I would assume you come in as a 26.5-point underdog. You're not necessarily thinking, anything other than there are no moral victories. You have to win. Like, what does success look like, and how do you think the game plays out on Saturday?
Well, I've always of the opinion that the how we do in the first couple of series is going to kind of predict the tone of the game. If we can come out and let's say Ohio State gets the ball first, if we can stop their drive, and if we could score first, that would be a tremendous confidence booster, morale booster, for the team, and it's just a matter of getting the plays that make them feel more confident going forward, and I think that's I think there's been some kind of a quiet confidence during the offseason. Of course, this has been a weird offseason all the way around, as we all know. But it's I think that overall the attitude is we're not pushovers.
We were talking, but right before we hit record, and you did your undergraduate at Indiana University, so you have been a Big Ten guy even before Nebraska was a Big Ten school. You were a student athletic trainer during the Lee Corso era. So every Ohio State fan immediately goes, wait a minute, the Lee Corso era. All right, you were there for one game. When you were at Ohio Stadium, did Lee Corso take a scoreboard picture during a game? Tell us about your trip to Ohio Stadium with Lee Corso as a student athletic trainer for Indiana.
I don't recall him taking a picture at that game. I think it might have been a different game, maybe even a Michigan game, but that was my first and only trip to the Horseshoe, and I think it was like 1974, if I remember right. And as the student trainers, they gave us access to a golf cart, to take all of her equipment out on the field. And there was another student trainer, his name was Bill Bullock, who was a good friend and, big portly guy with a handlebar mustache and, quite a character. And so he was driving the cart, and after we unloaded, he drove out to the middle of the O on the 50-yard line about 10 minutes before kickoff and just sat out there while the teams were still in the locker room. And so finally, after 5 minutes, the security guard starts walking out to us, and he waits until he almost gets there. Then he starts up the cart and waves by, "Good day, officer," and goes back to the sideline. So, but that was interesting, just to sit out there and watch all the fans in the stadium. Of course, it was obviously full, and it was like I said, it was the 49-7 game or something to that effect, and it was we were in it for the first 5 minutes, and that was it, I think.
Smooth transition from the Scott Frost quote. Very nice. Yeah. Finally, David, I want to let you. I'm assuming there's a lot of Buckeye fans this week looking for a crash course in Nebraska football. So let them know what they can find at HuskerMax.com. Well,
they can find over 150,000 pages of content, including a game page for every Nebraska-Ohio State game that's ever been played, and it's been online since 1999, and it's probably the single largest sports information for a single team on the entire internet. So they can get lost in that. So if you come to the site and you're an Ohio State fan, go to the Essentials tab on top and click all the games, and there you'll be able to find every game Nebraska's ever played since 1890.
So definitely make sure you check out HuskerMax.com this week for all of that. That is a ton of information. It'd be hard to go back much further than 1990. So that's if you need more Nebraska football than that, you probably are out of luck. And if you want a good bit of Ohio State football this week, BuckeyeScoop.com is the place to be. We will have press conferences today, press conference tomorrow. We should have a press conference with Ryan Day, a short one on Thursday. So there's going to be a ton to talk about this week. And as we count down to kickoff of the 2020 Ohio State season, yes, it is finally here. David, thank you so much for joining us. And thank you for joining us this morning. Greatly appreciate you taking the time to listen. Have a great day. We will talk to you tomorrow.